Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, good morning and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Monday to you wherever you are. Thank you for joining in. And as always, please let me know where you are. And I hope you're bringing all the good vibes to Story Time today. Thank you for joining in. I had a good weekend and I hope you did too. Thank you so much for joining in. And hopefully, you got to watch some football, got to relax, got to enjoy it. Thank you for joining in Story Time today. I am glad you are here with me. We're here today for a great story, and we will be reading Because of an Acorn. Because of an Acorn. And this one is written by Lola M. Schaefer and Adam Schaefer, and illustrations by Frann Preston-Gannon. Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. And of course, we're reading this one with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Good morning to you and welcome. Thank you for joining in. A big thank you to Chronicle Books as always. And of course, a big shout out to you, Eva Zimmerman, as well. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope you're ready. I hope you are here with us, ready to enjoy a great story indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. All right. Please let me know where you're joining in from and how your weekend was. Let us see who is with us today for this beautiful story. And also, please remember that indeed February is Black History Month. So whatever you're doing, please spare a thought. Let us research. Let us read more about our history and, of course, see how we can make things better for the future. Learn from our past. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. And let us see who else is with us. Good morning to you, Marietta and Henry out in Harvard, Massachusetts. Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, indeed. And Marietta, talking to you very soon. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely love it that you're here. Henry, I hope you had yourself a good weekend. I am glad you're here for Because of an Acorn. And please remember that this week on Story Time, we are indeed celebrating many great stories, but of course ones like this where we plant the seed and hopefully that can grow into so many great things. So and on Friday is a special one because it'll be all story. We won't read a book, but we will share a great story together. So please come in and tune in for that one. Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. Henry and Marietta in Harvard, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning to you, Chriselle. Good morning to you, Clay. How are you doing today? Great to see you back here, Clay. And you're saying it is beautiful and sunny out in Long Beach. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Well, just the thought of that is making me warm over here. Thank you so much for sharing that. Good morning to you. And of course, an extension. Good morning to you, Rocco, as well. I hope your classes are going well. And Camille, I hope you had a beautiful birthday. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Sarah and Nathan in Illinois, say cold and snowy Illinois. I've been following the news and oh my goodness, yes, it is pretty cold out there. Hopefully you are staying warm and of course you're here with us. We can feel your presence, your warmth, and definitely know that you're okay. Thank you so much for joining us. Sarah and Nathan and of course Amanda West out in Illinois. Good morning to you, Pamela Courtney, and of course Braylon, Kavaya, and Chad. How are you doing today? Good to see you. Happy Monday to you. And of course, you're joining us from Nakitash in Louisiana. Thank you for joining in. Soraya, back in Oakland, how are you doing today? And of course, to you, Sharon Lungo, as well. Good morning to you. Thank you for joining us on Storytime for this good book that we have today. Thank you, thank you. And I'm glad that you had a safe trip back home and you are right here in Oakland. Thank you so much. And another one in Illinois, Chicago. How are you doing? This is Alan Edwards. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you are here. Oh my goodness. Good morning to you out in Bogota, Juliana and Luca, 8 years old. Good morning to you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in. You say, I'm Luca, I'm 8 years old, and my mom, I'm here with me too. All right. Well, I am glad you're here, Luca. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime out in Bogota, Colombia. Good morning to you. And of course, good morning to you, Juliana, as well. Thank you so much for joining in. And that is what Storytime is all about, all around the world coming together for beautiful stories, teaching each other, and of course, learning from each other. Good morning to you, Marvin in Chekwa. How are you doing? And you are joining in with Lutabe Z. How are you doing today? And you say the weekend was awesome. That is great to hear, my brother. Thank you so much for joining in. And Lydia Yamaguchi, how are you doing today? And you're joining in with Koji, and it is Koji's first story time. Well, Koji, welcome to the family, and of course, welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Love it. Harry the Red, how are you doing, Harry, today? Good morning to you. And of course, good morning to you, Kat Saxton, as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Harry, I hope you had a wonderful day on your day outside yesterday. The pictures look great. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining in. Milena, good morning to you. Milena, please let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Milena joining us. Good morning to you. Milena Ryber, thank you so much for joining in. And before we get started with our story, of course, Enid from sunny Oregon today joining us. How are you doing? And of course, Heather Farah as well. Good morning to you. All right, we're getting ready. We're getting started with our story because of an Acorn. And this one is written by Lola M. Schaefer and Adam Schaefer, and illustrations by Frann Preston-Gannon. Good morning to you and welcome. Let us get ready for our story. Here we go. And of course, we're reading this one with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. So a big thank you to them, as always, for allowing us to share so many great books right here on Storytime. All right, here we go. Because of an Acorn by Lola M. Schaefer and Adam Schaefer, and illustrated by Frann Preston-Gannon. And like I said before, read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. All right. Because of an acorn, what happens? Look at that cool page. You can see right through it. A tree. And because of a tree, what happens next? A bird. Because of a bird, what else? A seed. And because of a seed, a flower. And because of a flower, well, a fruit. Because of a fruit, a chipmunk. And because of a chipmunk, snake. Watch out. And because of a snake, a hawk. Because of a hawk. What next? What do you think? An acorn. And because of an acorn, a forest. And of course, in the back of that book, there's a whole lot more information on what you can do to help our environment. And one of the things, of course, that I wanted to read was, what can you do to help? And one of the things it says is, use fewer napkins and paper towels and more cloth napkins and towels. The less paper products needed, the fewer trees will be cut. Collect and take your cardboard, newspapers, not papers and letters to the recycling center. The more we recycle, the less new paper will need to be made. Buy products that are made from recycled paper. Buy products that are made from recycled paper and cardboard. If recycled products sell well, there will be less need for new. Visit a forest near you. Take a hike. Watch the wildlife. Walk along a stream. Take photographs. When we appreciate the forest, we do more to conserve the land, plants, and animals, and so much more. And of course, yes, indeed, like also just thinking about it, the seeds that we plant, whether it be words, be it our actions, those seeds that we plant definitely, have a far-reaching effect. You might not see the effects now, but how we're taking care of the earth will have great impact on those that are leaving after us. So remember that when we take care of the earth, we're not just taking care of it for ourselves, but we're taking care of those that are coming after us. There's still many people, young people joining us today for story time, and I have a duty to make sure that when they're coming in, they find a land, a planet that is still habitable, a land that is still beautiful. So we have that duty. We have our words, our actions all have a far-reaching effect. And so let us mind those things. Let us watch our actions. Let us, of course, watch our tongue as well, watch our words, so that we're not hurting others, but we're making this world a better place indeed. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I'm glad you were here. And that was Because of an Acorn. And that one is written by Lola M. Schaefer and Adam Schaefer and illustrated by Frann Preston-Gannon. And of course, because of that little acorn, that little seed that was planted, and you end up having a forest, right? In Bemba, in one of the languages back in Zambia, say imiti kula empanga. It means today's seedlings are tomorrow's forest. So let us make sure that we're taking care of our little ones, taking care of this planet, so that it can remain habitable, it can remain beautiful. Thank you for joining in, everybody. I am glad you were here with me. Please do let us know who was here with us, and so we can definitely say hi to you. But remember to join us tomorrow for another great story. And tomorrow we'll be reading On a Beam of Light. On a Beam of Light. And this is the story of Albert Einstein. And yes, this is somebody that was once told they would not amount to much. Join in and find out how they overcame, and of course, what we can learn from that. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am glad you were here. Baby Harry, one more time, thank you so much for joining us. Kat Saxton, I am glad you were here. Enid in Oregon, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. And of course, Enid, thank you. I see lots of emojis on there. Thank you so much for sharing. Absolutely love it. Yeah. And Lydia Yamaguchi, you say Koji the puppy was very sleepy, but I'm sure he will enjoy all the things mentioned in the book someday. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much for joining in. Please do remember to join in Storytime, and remember that you can find us on many different platforms that we have. You can find us on our Facebook. You can also find find us on our YouTube, and of course you can find recordings there, and also you can find places and where to get your books. So if you can, please go ahead and buy yourself a copy. But if you can't, always use your library. They are there. They're there for you. They are free resources that you can take advantage of. This has been story time for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Monday morning. Hopefully you're not too cold where you are. Hopefully you're not too hot. You're just right. Thank you so much for joining in. And please remember, our words matter. Our actions matter, not just for now, but for the future. So let us be responsible. Let us remember to reflect and check ourselves. Are we doing our best to make this world a better place? Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Much love from me, and I will see you again tomorrow when we're back with an exciting story. And before we go, just really quickly, catching us from Orange County, thank you so much for joining us. Second time around. I am glad you came back for another story, and I hope to see you for many, many, many more. That was Jemison, Alicia, and Lindley out in Orange County. Thank you so much for joining in. And April Booker Osborne, good morning to you. Thank you for joining in. Marvin Injekwa, you say conversations benefits both humans and animals. Let's make our environment green and healthy. Absolutely, my brother. Couldn't put it better. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Please have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful day wherever you are. We'll be back here tomorrow for more Story Time. Please join in, and we will be reading On a Beam of Light. Do join us for that one. I am excited to share it. But remember that on Friday, I am telling you, I'll be storytelling a very special story, folktale from back home in Zambia. And so do join me in for that one. I'm sure all the Zambians joining in right now remember Kalulu. Well, Kalulu is coming alive right here on Storytime on Friday. So do join in for that special folktale. Thank you so much for joining in. Much love from me. Please have yourselves a beautiful day, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, you won't just start all the reading. I just can't wait to be hearing. Favorite stories with his great big smile. You won't leave lonely, you won't just start all the reading. We just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of your stories. Read me all